rule keepers, living to make a difference. And there's nowhere like this, no, there's nowhere like this. In a love, government, no rules, 13. There's nowhere else I'd rather be. Handle strong, said I'm government, I'm living local and it's everything to me.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to 13 Now. I'm Mabel Salzano. Today is Monday, July 20th, and today we're talking with Bay County Judge candidate and incumbent Tim Campbell. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having us.
So, Judge, can you just start for people who may not necessarily know you, can you just start by introducing yourself a little bit, talking about your background, family, career, things like that?
Sure. Well, I'm Tim Campbell. I'm asking for your vote again on August 18th. And this is a nonpartisan election, so it won't go into November. Because the judicial races will be over in August. I'm a lifelong resident here in Bay County. I'm not flamboyant. I'm not an actor. I'm just me. I was saying I'm a lifelong resident. I went to school here in Bay County. I went to Panama Christian for a lot of years, and I graduated from Bay High School. Then I went off to college, and that's where I met my wife, my beautiful wife Debbie, at Florida State. And in August, before the election, will be our 38th wedding anniversary. And then we had 2 children together. They're both grown now, aged 33 and 31. Then after law school, came back here in 1984, started practicing law, so that's 36 years experience, and did some criminal cases. I have experience in both civil and criminal, mainly civil. I was board certified in one area of civil law, and also always participated, and I'm civic minded, so way back, even long before I thought about running for judge, I was, I manned the phones for the MDA telethon. I've run the bell for Salvation Army. I'm on the board of the Junior Museum, which is now called Nature and Discovery Center. Past president of Panama City JCs. And when I was community development vice president of that organization, we were #1 in the nation for community fundraising. So we're proud of that award. Also past president of the Bay County Bar Association, and that's a legal association, but we also had events and programs to raise money for United Way, and then for Tom Ingles' family. He was the lawyer who died in that, along with Judge Bailey in Gulf County. So we always want to remember him and both of them. But I've just always been active. I received the President's Pro Bono Award for providing free legal services to the poor. I think I got that award in 1991, and just always, tried to do what I could to help out, and I still do that. Although judges are not allowed to raise money, I help out in other ways. Served as the Chief Administrative County Judge here. Also, currently, I'm the circuit representative up to the board for the state organization of judges. Served on different committees there. Served on the chaired the Constitution Revision Committee for them, and also chaired the Small Claims Rules Committee for several years. We were able to implement certain rules to make the system better and the procedures better and the court system more efficient. So I still am doing those type of things.
Okay. And so on Friday we spoke with your opposing candidate, Hugh Crawford, and he had some words, some opinions about your time as judge, and how would you respond to that? Well,
first of all, I'm offended about saying that I don't work, because I have always been a workaholic. I worked hard. That's how, I went straight through college, straight through law school, passed the bar exam on my first try. I've always worked hard, applied myself, In my practice, I had a successful practice. I worked my practice and I took care of my clients. And as a matter of fact, I took a pay cut to take this job because I did have a successful practice. But you know, I left that practice and I sold my law office building. I was all in for this job, and I'm proud to be a Bay County judge, serve the citizens of Bay County. And when you like your job, it's easy. I don't struggle to come into work. Well, you know, I hope that people can find a job that they like and that they can do. It's not a chore, and so therefore I work all hours. And people don't understand. We work nights. We get called on weekends, late at night. We get woken up. We take turns working holidays, and you know, I've been to the courthouse on Christmas Day and Thanksgiving Day, and the very morning after the storm, Hurricane Michael, I was up and I made my way to the jail so I could have bond hearings. I had to back up and turn around a few times to get around trees and fallen power poles. So, you know, I do my job, and I did that on into the weekend. And then you can't ignore the two catastrophic events that happened. One was Hurricane Michael. It's a fact. The other is the pandemic with COVID-19. It's a fact. And those have increased the caseloads in Bay County. So, you know, just to say that they're not important, you can't ignore them. But, you know, for all the judges, I want to give them credit, and all the people that work at the courthouse. Like my house, the chimney blew off and ceilings came in. So my wife and I were in the house for a while under the tarp, and then when the contractors came, we had to move out. We were out of our house for 9 months. Other people, same thing. The clerks and judges. One judge had the whole back of his house blown away, and he and his wife had to just level that down to the concrete slab. But yet we all are still there doing our part and working through this process, and the COVID-19 process also. But I want to commend them, from the chief judge all the way down to everybody that works there, and the things that we're putting together, the meetings that we're having, and coordinating with everybody, the state attorney's office and the public defender's office and the clerks, and just trying to put it all together. But you know, judges are real people too. These things happen to us too. And the IT, the technology people, you know, for a while we had to, somehow they ran a connection out to the sheriff's department, and then that relayed out to the jail, so we could do that, and then the deputies wouldn't have to transport inmates to the courthouse as often, and that saves on security and manpower. And so the technology people, they're understaffed, and they work very hard to keep us going. So I want to commend them too. The clerks, the judicial assistants, you know, some of them have been sick, some of them are high risk. They're still trying to work through it, and work it from home a lot of times, and come in when they can. And cover for each other. So it's a joint effort. So, and some of those other issues, I don't need to speak to all the issues, but I'll just try to give it a little perspective. For example, let's start with jurisdiction. The county court jurisdiction was just changed, but not until January 1st of this year. Small claims cases were up to $5,000, and the other county court cases were up to $15,000. And not until January 1st did it change to $8,000 and $30,000 respectively. So then what happened then in March, you know, 2.5 months later, is we had the shutdown because of the pandemic. And now this is orders from the governor, orders from the Supreme Court of Florida, no in-person hearings, and regulating what we're doing, no evictions. So those things, you know, we cannot disobey the orders of the Florida Supreme Court. And we try to work around those. We're still doing things by video and telephone and having hearings. And also there is a rule that the lawyers can get together and waive the pretrial and not come to court. and they're utilizing that rule. Some of the small claims cases that are hurricane related, if the lawyers are from somewhere else, it costs more for them to come up here. So the reason for that rule is the attorney's fees could be more than the claim. So let me explain that further. So a lot of these cases are assignment cases. It may be a situation, it is in some of my cases, I can't talk about specific cases, but the insurance company may have paid everything on the claim except one invoice. Maybe they don't want to pay for an engineer report. So the case, which Mr. Crawford is referring to hurricane-related cases, is really talking about a restoration company. They got an assignment from the homeowner, and then they're suing the insurance company directly. So it doesn't really involve the homeowner anymore, and it may be over an invoice for $2,500. So they waive the pretrial, and then they can do their discovery, get documents exchanged and things like that, take depositions if they need to, and then work on settling the cases. And so that's what's happened. It takes it out of my hands if they waive the pretrial and elect not to come to court for the official mediation. Some of the old cases, think about this. I didn't become a judge until 2009. So there were other judges before me that had these old cases on the docket. So why did they leave them on the docket? Well, they're warrants. If somebody fails to appear, capias when they don't pay their fines, which is a warrant. And there's a thing called separation of powers. I don't have authority to just wipe those clean and get rid of them. And the clerk of the court is also our comptroller for the county. And Mr. Kinsall's been a very good steward of our money, and his predecessor, Mr. Harold Basil, was also a good steward of the money. But that's your money. That's taxpayer money. That's the money that belongs to the citizens of Bay County. And so if this other person doesn't pay his fine, then why should this one be forgiven and not pay his fines? So they're still left on the books, and that's really out of my hands because of separation of powers. They want to collect that money, and we leave it up to them. When they are found and the warrant served on them, they'll be brought to court, and then we'll deal with it then.
Okay.
But that's what that is all about. So I'm just trying to give some perspective so you see the whole picture. There's a lot of things people may not understand, may not know. Some people may not know that my opponent has run several times. He's filed to run several times. So you see his name, out there, but he's never won an election. He's never been appointed to public office. So that's something people may not know. And also, the last time I ran and won the election, it was against the same opponent.
Okay. So a lot of what you said it was out of your hands, pretty much. And so I'm wondering...
Just those specific situations.
Right. And so I'm wondering, is there anything about our judicial system that you think should change in order to increase the efficiency?
Well, I think if we continue the improvements in technology, that's the best way we can handle the volume. And it is a high-volume job. If you can't handle the volume, don't apply for the job. And so I'll tell you a couple of examples of things that when I first started, the clerks would have to bring up carts of files, and then we'd go through them one by one. And now they have a system where they can upload the files into the computer, and then we have what we call the queue, and we can go in there and look at those. We can have another monitor over here and check the file, and if necessary, we can take action on that, or we can leave it and set a hearing on it, or we could sign it right there. That's one example. We also have the e-portal system now. We didn't have that when I started. Any lawyers from around the state can file their cases through the e-portal. They can also submit proposed orders, and I can go in there, download the document to a Word file, make modifications, and then when I put it back, file it, sign it, file my order, it if people have put in their email address, it's automatically, once it's filed, it's out to them right away if they've put in that address. Another thing is the e-warrants. We get calls, like I said, all hours of the night when it's our turn, and an officer might have secured a building or a car. They need a warrant. They may be on the west end of the beach. Well, when I started, at first they would have to drive to my house. You know, they call ahead, wake us up, and then we go over everything, and then now they can upload it into the e-warrants thing. I can look at it, and of course sometimes we reject them if it's wrong or mistake, or if we don't find probable cause. Then they have to fix it, but we can sign it there. That saves a lot of time. And then when somebody wants to see a copy of the warrant later, we had a judicial assistant would have to go back to the filing cabinet and thumb through there and try to find it. And I was instrumental in pushing for the system where it's already in the system. And I'm on the technology committee now. And of course I have to give credit to the IT people. I mean, we kind of, judges can tell you our ideas, and then they make it happen. Mm-hmm. And they work, like I say, tirelessly. They're shorthanded, and they really work hard to keep us going. But that's another example of the technology. We continue to do that and improve, and we can handle the volume.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about policy for a second. I guess, what is your take on police reform?
Well, I know there's been some things in the news. You know, judges can't talk about specific cases, but maybe the legislature is working on some ideas for training or different kinds of training. I think that's okay. Maybe there's more emphasis on sensitivity, diversity, those type of things. But there are really great officers out there. So it's kind of like you say about lawyers, don't let one bad apple spoil it for all the rest of them. They're so good. I know I've seen here in Bay County, they'll stop and help you change the tire, and they're there to protect and serve. But I think communication would be a good thing, and I know I'm real proud of our leaders. Our sheriff and the police chiefs came together. They had a meeting with some of the leaders in the community, and if you continue to do that, continue to have communication, then it's a better society, and everybody feels comfortable about what's happening. So open communication is one thing. Not to say they're not doing that. They're already doing that in our county. We have a good group of people.
Okay. And with the legalization of hemp, do you think that marijuana should continue to be prosecuted under Florida law?
Well, judges are, you know, that's a great line. I don't want to advocate for anything, and I shouldn't. Judges shouldn't do that, or candidates. But I think the legislature is looking at the science. They get the studies, they look at it, and they made some changes dealing with medical marijuana. And they might continue to do that. But it is the law currently, and we are a nation of laws right now. And I've always said, I said it before and I'll say it again, I don't think a judge should legislate from the bench. So I will follow the law.
Okay. Well, I think that's all I have. Is there anything you'd like to add?
Well, I'm sure there's something I left out, but I do want to ask everyone for your vote. Vote for Tim Campbell on August 18th. I do work hard. I want to keep working for this county. I love Bay County. I remember the days when there were a lot of sand dunes out there on the beach, and in the winter the businesses on the beach would shut down. And you know, I grew up here, raised my children here. It's a good place to raise your children. And I want to thank you and WMBB for giving us this opportunity. A lot of times in some of the other forums you have 1 minute here and 2 minutes there, and this is a better way to really explain things.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Hopefully you learned something new about current Bay County Judge Tim Campbell today. Sorry about that.
Remember Campbell soup.
You can revisit this interview on mypanhandle.com's Meet the Candidate page under the Your Local Election Headquarters tab. But that's all for today. Live in the studio, I'm Mia Bell Salzano. See you tomorrow.